order to renovate. And I asked myself that, okay, in education, from what you have listed, you've done a lot. The one that I particularly even like is one school called Government Technical College, Okitipupa, which, just had up to about 500 plus students matriculating, with the emphasis on technical vocational skills, something that we urgently need, not just in Ondo State, but in Nigeria generally. But the question is, okay, all these buildings being renovated, all these structures being rehabilitated. So what happened under the Akeredolu administration? Will you be willing to share part of the blame, for whatever oversight may have occurred under that administration? Because if you are doing so much, renovating so many schools, then it means that the administration before yours, of which you were a part, either did not pay enough attention and you suddenly realized it and you are correcting that oversight.
Let me say this. The last administration worked. I can never say they didn't work in terms of renovation of schools. Yes. Resources available is what can be used to actually do some of this work. The resources are limited and they have alternative uses. That's basic economic definition by Adam Smith. Relationship between the ends and axioms which has alternative uses. So the resources available at the time was what was used for all the projects. He constructed roads. He renovated schools as well. The counterpart funding for SUBEB, which is the basic primary education, all that, were done. Unlike now that we're able to access more funds to do more. Yes, I would say that.
So Ondo State is benefiting from the removal of subsidy?
Definitely. All the states in Nigeria, not only Ondo State. All of us. All the governors get more allocation, even though cost has also gone up in terms of the revalue of money. But that doesn't mean we are not getting more allocation. So it's just like saying there is no government that will come to power that will not construct roads. Every government constructs roads. And it's never enough. Everyone will be building roads. Either you renovate the old, rehabilitate the old one that has gone bad, and you do new ones to add to it. The same thing. Facilities over time. Wear and tear, if you like, you call it. So that is what is happening. Some during his time were not bad. They were being managed. But now we need to renovate them. It has gone bad as a reason of use. So those are the things that I can say happened. We've done a lot, really. He did some, we are doing a lot because of the resources available to us and the mindset towards some of these things. Every leader comes with his own mindset and what he wants to achieve. So that is basically what has happened. It's not as if it didn't work. I was the deputy governor. We commissioned a lot of renovation of schools. And then the areas, don't forget, we have 18 local governments. 18 local governments with a lot of schools. New classroom have to be built and renovate the old one, teachers' classroom. Those are some of the things you see. Apart from, well, let me go into primary health care. It's the same thing. We renovated a lot of our primary health care centers, across the state. So basically, he built some, and I'm building some too.
It's natural, because to whom much is given, much more is expected. Ondo State last year was top 10 states in terms of FAC allocation, got almost 200 billion naira. That's what Ondo State got. So out of 36 states in Nigeria, Ondo was top 10, in fact, number 10. And I know you're working on a budget, 524 billion naira budget, which you call budget of economic consolidation. So naturally, expectations are high from the people of Ondo State. But I need us to tie the issue of security well, because there's still a couple of concerns I want you to address. And I want to put a face to these issues? Yes, you mentioned, or I think we referred to the protest by the people of Ishiwakoko in Akoko Southeast, where they blocked the highway on Wednesday. Why? Well, it had been a build-up, but it came to a head when one of the community leaders, Ojogbara, known as Obesere, was kidnapped and killed. A farmer, Ben Daniels, was killed along Agula Farm on Monday in Akure North. Wednesday, a farmer, Adeshida Daniel, was shot, his wife kidnapped in the Sagba community, Akure South. I think you made mention of some church members who were kidnapped as well. But what we understand is that ransom was paid before they were rescued. We can also talk about the Alagamo Vagamo community who was killed last month. And I want you to be very frontal, right? I want you to be frank with the people of Ondo State, some of them who are a bit concerned. Who is attacking these people? Who is responsible for these things, and why? Do you know why?
Thank you. We're now, yes, you still drawing us back to security issues, which is very...
Just to tie it
yes,
up.
to tie it, yes. Those cases you mentioned, like I said, there are isolation cases. These are not a bandit attack, as it were, because when bandit comes in, they destroy, they kill. For no cause, they don't take ransom, they don't do anything. They just, come in and just displace people and, like what happened at St. Francis Catholic Church. They didn't take any, not even handset or phone of anyone. They just came in and just blast the whole place with grenade and all that and left. The cases you mentioned, for example, the traditional that you mentioned, far into some remote area in Akure North. Don't forget that when you hear Akure, a lot of people think about Akure, the capital city. Akure is big. Akure North, we have farmstead that you have to travel by, not by car or hill out, by bike for 3 hours to get to somebody's farmstead. And some things do happen in such locations once in a while. And our Motekun Rangers, they have base and camp in those forests. I have to say this. These are some things we don't disclose. They operate in those places to ensure that every aspect of the state is covered. But you cannot run away from some isolated case. Some are tied to land issues, succession in terms of who owns land and who wants to be the baile of such location among the same people in the same community. That was what happened in that case. The police report is there. The other one you mentioned, a friend called other friend to follow him to somewhere. He left his food and he followed him and then was killed. That is not bandit. Those are crimes within the community. So you cannot run away from such as well. Those are some of them, but by the time they will put out the news, for some reason known to those who write out this news, they make it look as if there is a big problem in Ondo State. But the security agents have the facts about some of this. It's crime, and the perpetrators are criminals. That is it. That is
so no terrorists. You're saying no terrorists or bandits operate in Ondo State?
Terrorist operation has not happened after the Owo massacre. We've not experienced any terrorist attack. They will show issue that you said the parents of. I said that we have isolated cases of kidnapping for ransom. That is wrong. It's happening, but we have to engage. The security agencies have to engage to be able to ensure that those who are kidnapped are released, the victims are released, and then they put a trail on those who are perpetrating that act. A lot of kidnappers have been arrested in the state. They don't write about that on the news. You can ask from the police and from the Amoteco. They are arresting a lot of them. And that is why kidnapping has reduced. It used to be almost like a daily thing at the time. But it has reduced considerably, even right now. But isolated cases, yes, some of them still take a risk. But the law will catch up on them because we will get them arrested. I can tell you that we'll smoke them out of their holes.
All right, Your Excellency, on back to education, I What Kade brought up, very, very important, and he mentioned specific cases, which is quite important that we do in conversation like this, because those who are affected, they're the ones that are yearning for us to ask these questions. So let me move very quickly. Your budget 2026 indicate that 64.5 billion was allocated to education. And Ondo State is ranked in the top 10 in terms of literacy and numeracy, one of the most enlightened states in Nigeria. And also another organization ranked Ondo State as joint 13th in terms of education. Now, all of those rankings are fantastic when you say that Ondo State is doing well, especially when you look at the amount of money you are investing. I choose to use the word invest rather than spend. I don't see the money you spend on education as a spend. I see it as investment because that's the future. So my question will then be, what are the expected outcomes for you, and how or what strategy are you putting together to achieve that expected outcome beyond just renovation of buildings and hiring more teachers? Expected outcomes being, are you creating hubs that are going to get the next generation of technocrats, the next generation of IT experts? What is it you're doing, and what is your expected outcome?
Thank you, Mr. Akeredolu. Beyond brick and mortar classrooms and hiring style in the educational sector, expected outcome is for us to produce primary school, secondary school graduates, if you like, that are taught very well and can face the next level of education. Now, preparing them at that young age, at that young adolescent age, secondary school level, so that by the time they are moving up the ladder, they have gotten the required knowledge that will help them to also succeed in their, next level of education. Now, we've also put some skill acquisition center in place, and we have this slogan in Ondo State among the youth one skill, not just being taught about normal, being taught just the subjects only. You need to have a skill, and we are preparing them for that as well, so that any of our youth, they must have one skill or the other. Yes, not all of them will be able to get to that point, but at least that window is there for them to be able to access. And we're encouraging them also to do that. That is why I have Senior Special Assistant on Youth Empowerment and Job Creation, and a lot of other, the Commissioner for Youth, a very young person also that can relate well with the youth. So the outcome is to produce a vibrant, educated youth. And that is already happening because Ondo State, when they go for any of these competitions among other states, we're doing very well. And we are known as a literacy state, like you already mentioned. So the truth is to produce well-informed young people that will be able to face the challenges of life in their next level.
So what part of that budget is going to creating artificial intelligence hubs, robotic stations and robotic hubs for young people to learn about robotics? Are these things you're planning for the next 3 years, or they're not in your plan and you're thinking of it as too futuristic?
The budget is not encompassing. Anytime such program is going to be organized, they present a memo and they get approval to train the young ones in digital literacy and every other ICT, courses. Don't forget we have Ondo State State Information Technology Agency that from time to time organize programs and bring the youth from the 18 local government, drawn from some of these schools, secondary school, these are not primary, but secondary school level, to engage, and the awareness is there. And there are other development partners as well that organize this kind of training for our youth. So we have development partners doing theirs, and then the state also organizing some of this. And we also have an agency, Ondo State Entrepreneurship Agency, doing a lot of work in training our youths, even young graduates, on entrepreneurship in different sectors of the economy. I will give them startup capital to be able to start their own business. And in the MSME clinic that is being organized at the federal level, there is no year Ondo State will not get about 3 awards among the best. So we are preparing our people, our youth, to be able to engage very well and make a meaning of their life. Yeah.
Let's talk about tourism. Many people see tourism as the next frontier. When you look at what UAE has done with tourism, we have a lot of tourism assets in our country that we are not really bothered about taking advantage of. What are you doing in the area of tourism? Tell me about Ararome, for example, where the deepest point of the Atlantic in our country is located. And then agriculture. What exactly are you doing to ramp up agri production and its food insecurity?
We have not done really much in the area of tourism, I must confess, but we have the mind. We are going to, this is the second year now, we have the mind of turning around, the various tourism areas we have in Ondo State. It's not as if we've not done anything at all. We have been showcasing. That's what we have been doing. I've had 3 different events at Ararome Beach, just to showcase that to the entire nation, to the world, if you like. We have a place here, a virgin place that is looking or waiting for investors. And we were able to also do that during the investment summit. Right now we have 2 or 3 partners that have signed with us that they want to develop Ararome Beach. So it's not as if we have done anything, but we have been able to showcase that area to the world. The same thing with Idori Hill. I think during the regime of His Excellency Dr. Olusegun Mimiko, Idori Hill Mari Festival was a big event. But after that, nothing has been done. And that is an iconic tourist center, Idori Hill. Yes. We are also trying to do something about that. The first thing I'm doing currently is to dualize a road from Okearo to Idori, the first phase, so that it will be easier for people to move from Akure once they land into our airport to move to Idori, in the tourist area. And then also the inherited project, that is Joka Road, that also lead to Idori. We're fast tracking. I think the asphalt lane is all going right now. The popular Joka Road that we were talking about as an abandoned project. It was an inherited project. The project is ongoing. It was not abandoned. Let me disappoint to say to viewers that the Joka Road will be completed very soon. The asphalt lane is ongoing, and it leads from Akure also to Idori. So creating different access to Idori because of Idori Hill. And we also awarded internal road that will lead to that hill, a 5 kilometer, part of the 5 kilometer per local government that we have awarded, so that the road to Idori from Akure will be smooth and will be easier for people to move in that area. All of that we have been put in place so that people can access the place with ease and have fun. even as it is right now, record from the Commissioner for Culture and Tourism saying that the number of people visiting Downey Hill in a day is over 1,000, even as it is right now. For you to know that by the time the place is put in the kind of the way I want to put it, you know, to be more attractive and more convenient for people to have fun, the traffic will be huge. People will come from different locations to want to visit Downey Hill. So that is what we are doing right now. But in terms of major projects in that place, nothing much apart from showcasing and building infrastructure that will help, so that by the time we'll be having this kind of child, maybe, I don't know, let me say by the time I'll be doing my second year, concluding the second year in office, to tell also the world what we have been able to do, it will be a different story concerning tourism in Ondo State. That is what I would say for now.
Yes, agric.
Agric, yes. You know, Ondo State is a leading cocoa producing state in Nigeria. About 40% of the total cocoa production in Nigeria is from Ondo State. We are still maintaining that lead because other states, you know, are also doing something new. Like Cross River is pursuing us seriously. We can't wait. We are supporting our farmers in that area so that we can continue to maintain the lead. Of recent, we gave lands to our farmers. Even though the land belonged to government, they encroached into it. We went to court. We won the case, got the land, but have to leave it for them. But for them to know that the land belongs to the state government, but you can have it as your cocoa farm. So we are supporting our cocoa farmers. Apart from cocoa, palm plantation is being supported. We call it the red gold, you know, because we believe that aspect, that kind of crop is very, very important for us in the state and also in Nigeria, because of the benefits of that. But what we are doing is to provide an enabling environment for individual investors to invest in agric in Ondo State. It's not as if the government is actually going into it by itself. We have stake, we provide the land, we provide the security enabling environment, and the government has a certain percentage from that. We have just declassified about 100,000 hectares from our reserve, forest reserve, for agroforestry. And out of that 100,000 hectares, in the area where we used to have the so-called bandits, where the criminals normally hide in the forest, we have declassified that now for agribusiness. And 30,000 of that 100,000 hectares have been allocated to Okitupa oil palm for their expansion to plant more trees for their palm production. And that place has been cleared, and if there were bandits there before, they have run away. So that is turning the forest into a business area. But agroforestry, because of climate change, where you just have to keep green and all of that, but it's agroforestry because they are planting agricultural economic trees that will be sustain the environment and also support the economy one way or the other. So we are doing a lot, and with other different agricultural programs like FREELA, where we acquire lands and give to some investors in different parts of the state. So for agric, we are doing very well in agric, and we are supporting that, you know, the best way we can for now, and we will continue in that stride.
Okay. Just two quick things about sustainable revenue mobilization. First, what's the IGR profile of the state, and what is the administration doing in that direction? Second part of it has to do with oil revenue. The Ondo State Attorney General has been very active writing opinion pieces in the last 1 week or so about a place called Eba Island. He's been quoting maps, quoting colonial records, archives, and all of that, all with an intent to say that that Eba Island belongs to Ondo State, and not Ogun State.
Not Ogun State.
He's saying it's not Ogun State, but in the spirit of brotherhood and friendship, two can share. I mean, what efforts, is the administration making to sit down at the table with Ogun State and resolve this matter amicably? And beyond that, the federal government also has an interest in it, being an island and all of that, and mineral resources. As the state reached out to the Boundary Commission and the federal government to see how this matter can be amicably resolved, because those of us from Ogun State, whichever way it is resolved, the two can share. Instead of Ondo State taking everything away, it can be amicably resolved.
Well, let me thank you so much, Ben Abati. In terms of IGR, let me talk about that before I go into oil politics. In terms of IGR, we are improving. Is growing steadily and gradually, but it's only when you create more businesses or when more businesses are operating in your domain, that is when you can also have an increase in IGR. And that is what we are doing to make Ondo State very, very convenient and safe for business people to come investors, so that we'll be able to get more money in terms of tax and in the area of taxes that will be generated. In terms of figures, before now, I think it's about 3 billion a month, but now we're moving to about 5, thereabout, an upward movement since I came on board. So that is happening. Now, coming to the oil, but the most important thing is that the IGR is growing, and we are trying to ensure that businesses are created, providing that enabling environment. By the time we have deep sea port groundbreaking, people will be positioning themselves into those states. And also the coastal highway from Lagos to Calabar is passing through Ondo State, and it's joining Ondo State at that corridor, the coastal, the where we have the longest coastline. That is where it's joining, and at that time, by the time that road is completed, from Ondo State, that is the Ilaje local government, which is my local government, to Ondo State, we just be about 35. To Lagos will be 35 minutes drive. It's so close. So, and you can see people living, moving down this way, but working in Lagos, or whichever way. And more business will be coming to this area, because Lagos is already, fully occupied in terms of landed area. So people are looking for other places. And since you can drive on 4-lane on each side express road, come on, and 35 minutes, you live in some part of Lagos, you won't get to your place of work for 2 hours. So people can decide to move this area. So, and when that's happened, landed property, the price will increase, and housing and all that. So it has, a lot of benefits we accrue to Ondo State through that project. Now, talking about oil well, EBA, and all of that, the first thing we need to know is that every oil assets, well and all that, belongs to the federal government, exclusive list. But it must be defined that it's located in a particular state and a particular community. Host community, and then oil producing state, where we get derivation, and the host community get their own share as a host community. Now, the whole write-up and speakings and discussions is to be able to establish location, not who owns the asset. It's clear the asset is owned by the federal government, but the location must be defined. And we need to provide information to the public and to also the boundary commission so that they can verify some of these documents and statements before they take certain decision of location. So that is the whole essence. It's not a roundtable discussion between myself and Prince Dapo Abiodun. We have talked about it. Sometimes he will say jokingly the way you are saying it now, that Aiyedatiwa, now, let's also have to become, he is longing to want to be part of oil producing states. But unfortunately, it's God's deposit. We are not the one that put the mineral resources there. It's nature from God, and it's located in a place. And from all you have read, you will find out that that place belongs to Ondo State. There's no two ways about it. So if Ogun has oil exploration company, they can drill in any part of the country. So if they are drilling in Ondo State, let them be drilling. But we know that it's on Ondo State, and it will be, recorded for us at Ramfac that it's Ondo State. We are not saying they should not drill. What is money drilling? Government give license to oil company to drill. We have Sahara Energy drilling in Omuru and Ojumole well in Ondo State. We have Chevron having some platform in Ondo State. Opakaba is in Ondo State. Sahara Energy is there. Bitter oil is what an arm of Odua Investment is drilling. Corn oil is drilling at Bella well in Ondo State. It doesn't matter where you are drilling from, but let us know the location, the state, and the host community. And that's what we're trying to tell the whole world, that this place belongs to Ondo State, not Ogun State. Ogun State has oil license, drilling license, one of their company. It doesn't matter. They can drill from Eba. It doesn't matter. We won't chase them away, because if government give them that location, that the well we are giving to you is in Eba Island, that is where you should drill, they should go there to drill. The security agencies, the Navy, they will protect the oil assets. So if they draft Navy to that place, we are not at war, we are not in conflict. All we are saying is this place belongs to Ondo State. Simple, nothing more.
Well, I know that the last has not been heard of this, but there's something they call, and I want to switch gears a bit, Mr. Governor. There's something they call political familiar spirits in Nigeria. So we have governors, for example, fighting their predecessors. It's a consistent thing we see. Or sitting governors fighting their deputies, or governors choosing to abandon projects of their predecessors. So I want this to link me to the legacy of late Akeredolu. Around the LCDAs, for example, what is going to happen to them. I can even go as far back as some of the industrial strikes, Oluwa Glass, and all of that. What are you doing to ensure that familiar spirit maybe stops with you? And then the governor versus deputy angle. It's been said that your deputy has been staying in a hotel for 2 months, just got a vehicle of late. What is your relationship with him? Because we're hoping that what we've seen happen over time won't happen this time.
Okay, thank you so much. For me, as governor of Ondo State at this time, there is no project that was started by my predecessor that will be abandoned. I will complete every one of them. Let me just quickly say that. And when you talk of legacy, I am the greatest legacy of Akeredolu, because I was his deputy, and he was my friend, very close friend. So there's, in the Akeredolu team, as the deputy, I'm the next to him. I will have other people. But like I said earlier on at the opening, that interest differs. People will pursue different interests. So, in terms of legacy, Akeredolu legacy lives on, and I am the #1 legacy of Akeredolu. Because the first time in Ondo State that even though he did not physically present when I became governor in 2023 December, he openly endorsed me, and he also wanted me to succeed him. So I can say Akeredolu is the first governor in Ondo State that have a successor of his own. because the statements are there, the records are there. And that's to tell you that when a governor, is able to install a successor, definitely he will carry on with the project or all that has been planned alongside. And don't forget, I was also his deputy, so I knew a lot of the things that were being done at the time. So, in terms of that it's on. Some of the projects he envisioned that he was unable to start, I started them. For example, the Judiciary Village that I've named after him on the day we laid the foundation. He envisioned it, he did a budget. I didn't change anything. He designed everything. He could not start, he could not lay the foundation. I started it from the scratch, and I'm not thinking to myself, and I named it after him. Towards the end of this year, that judicial village will be completed, and it's named Akeredolu Judiciary Complex. So, and that is one legacy, that one thing that's so paramount to him, but it was it was a burden for him as a senior advocate to be able to build, a judiciary complex for the state, which I am building. Now, issue of the rivalry or quarrel between deputy and the principal, the governor and deputy. I don't have such. I and Akeredolu also, we didn't have that kind of case at all until when he was ill, and all the things that happened, he wasn't aware. He was not aware of all of those things. Just some things cannot be said here. There are statements he made and all that. Some people are witnesses to this, like the chairman of Nigeria Governors Forum, he's still there today, he's one of my witnesses. At the time I have to ask him to help me go see him. If this thing they are saying is true, he's a living witness. That is the governor of Kwara State. He came back and told me that the man said he had no problem with me. He doesn't understand what they are saying.
What about this one?
Well, they are two different individuals. Politics. Politics.
Do you still speak with his wife?
If she called me, I will pick her call. But she doesn't want to talk to me, so that's it. Let's leave it that way. So it's a choice. You understand? It's a choice.
Okay.
Now let's stay with my own deputy. You said at the time he was living in a hotel. Yes, when he came in newly, yes, he was living in a hotel because there was no accommodation for him at the time. I lived in my own house all for the 3 years I was deputy governor. There was no accommodation for me in the government house. He has moved in because I have renovated the deputy governor's lodge. So at the beginning, yes, he has to wait for the place to be renovated. Don't forget that we came into power not by our own design. I came in because somebody passed, which is a natural occurrence. It's not by election at the first.
Okay.
So that was what happened. So there's no problem between me and my deputy. He's living in the deputy governor's lodge in the government house. That I didn't have opportunity to, not because my principal doesn't want me, because there were no buildings. It was down. So he was not living where I'm living right now, the late governor. It wasn't because he started the new governor's lodge. I completed it and I moved in. He didn't have the opportunity to. So,
Governor, we seem to have run out of time. Our time runs very quickly. In less than 60 seconds, if you can just say one or two things to the people of Ondo State as we begin to wrap up.
Thank you very much. Let me quickly say this to my people in Ondo State. Let me first of all thank you for your support, for the mandate you gave to us by that election on the 16th of November 2024 that produced I, my deputy governor, as your governor. And all our promises, we are beginning to deliver them. And we want to tell you that all the promises we made during our electionary campaign to your various local government and your community, we will strive hard to ensure that we fulfill all of those promises. I would just plead that you should be patient. We are working. We cannot do everything at the same time. If it has not gone into your area, it doesn't mean it's not coming. We will be there. And also for the 18 local government road, 5 kilometers per local government, the design is ready. They will move in before the rain starts to ensure that we give you those roads that you so desire in your various local government. Safety is very important. We want to assure you that this government will not leave any stone unturned to ensure your safety is guaranteed. The security of lives and property, which is our primary mandate, we are focused on that, and it's a burden on us. So we want to assure you that we'll protect you and your property as government. So thank you for your support and thank you for your patience.
Thank you very much for hosting us in Ondo State and for participating in this program, Mr. Governor Speaks. My name is Ruben Abati, Arise News. Here, Kayode Okikiolu Channels Television, Mr. Kayode Akintemi, Managing Director, News Central, and of course, Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Director of News, TVC Continental, TV Continental. And with that, we've come to the end of this edition of Mr. Governor Speaks. Thank you all for watching. Bye for now. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Yeah.